And here we are. It's August 20th, 2020. So it's 8/20/2020. And here with Tom and Barbara. I'm Kevin, and today's topic is after the honeymoon, after the wedding, we went on a honeymoon to Bali. And unusually, because we figured that they'd only get over here once to Asia. We thought we'd bring them along, mom and dad, on the honeymoon to Bali. So our first night actually was in Hong Kong. And then we went on to Bali the next day and arrived in Bali. And it was, so you guys you spent about a week in Japan before the wedding. So you had a little bit of time to acclimatize to the jet lag and things like that. And then we went on to Bali. Do you have any input on that?
Yes, when we stopped in Hong Kong, believe it or not, we found a McDonald's, and we went to McDonald's. Not sure why. Maybe because we felt deprived after eating all that wonderful Japanese food. We hadn't had any rotten American food. And anyway, we went to McDonald's in Hong Kong. But we went on a train trip into China. And we rode on the train and going north from Hong Kong. Hong Kong was not part of China at that time, and it was British. And we went into the new nation of China and got to visit there. And of course, they were making money on the train and showing off their country. And everything they showed us was good and wonderful, of course.
Yeah, that train trip went up to Canton, or Guangzhou, as they call it now. Canton, which is the southern capital of Japan, just outside of Hong Kong. Yeah.
Yes. So that we could say we'd been in China. It wasn't the real China, though, I don't think. But we did see they were doing construction, lots of construction. And the scaffolding was made of bamboo. They didn't use metal scaffolding, and they tied it all together with ropes, I guess, and then they could take it apart and put it back together on another building. And the men would stand on these bamboo scaffoldings and apply bricks and so on to the buildings that they were building. And there was a lot of building going on in that part of China.
That area now is called Shenzhen, which is now one of the big manufacturing places for computers for all over the world. Apple and all of those iPhone manufacturing places, Foxconn, that's all in Shenzhen, just outside of Hong Kong.
And what did we call it back when we went up there?
Well, it's kind of like it's between Canton or Guangzhou. Canton is the old name, yeah. And so.
Yeah, we had a city in Illinois named Canton that I think was named after Canton, China, but that was an anglicized name, right? The
Right.
English called it Canton.
Right, the Chinese name is Guangzhou. The Chinese name is Guangzhou.
Guangzhou.
Yeah.
So the Chinese insisted on going back to the original Chinese instead of using anglicized Chinese.
How long
Right.
were you in China then? You were there more than one day.
Just a day, I think it
Really?
was.
Yeah.
We went on
Yeah.
the train, and I don't think we stayed overnight even.
Right.
But we got fed and entertained, and we got to look out the window and see lots of Chinese workers.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember Maki when we arrived, because we were slated to, we knew at that time that we were going to eventually end up in China for a year to volunteer after, and so we came back to the States and did the summer in the States, but in the fall we went back to China. But I remember Maki arriving in Hong Kong and finding everything just so different. That she was just, she's, oh man, this stuff, this smell and everything is terrible, and didn't really like it at all. And then after a year of living mainland China in Nanjing, not Nanking, but Nanjing, then we ended up in Hong Kong again. And she's going, oh man, this is so good. And,
Oh, you mean Nanjing was even worse
oh yeah, yeah.
than Hong Kong?
All right,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, Hong Kong was not mainland China. Mainland China in those days, this is 1989, was very poor. You know, there was, yeah.
I remember Maki saying they spit on the sidewalk.
Yes, and
So,
in the bus.
Japanese would never spit on the sidewalk.
Yeah, in the bus too. Yeah. So anyway, but back to Bali. So we eventually went from Hong Kong on to Bali, and I'm going to share some pictures here. Let's see. We went and from the ceremony when we finished up into Hong Kong, and then finally got to Bali. There's a. This is the north side of the island. Where the surfing is really good, but they don't have very good hotels. And this was the first night we spent in this tiny little place on the beach.
Looks charming.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't very charming because there were bed bugs in the.
Oh,
Ooh,
no.
that's right. I kind of forgot that. I didn't want to.
Yeah, Mom got bed bugs the first night, and so she had bites all over her skin for the first few days. Yeah, and
Right.
so, so we moved down to a place that was very expensive. It was $25 a night for both of us, 2 rooms, $12 a night each, and it was very fancy. That didn't have any bed bugs. And so this is actually on the south end of the island, not Kuta, which is the most famous, but a little bit near that. If there's a small beach village that. So this was these were very nice digs for really cheap. There's some of the hotel, and this reminds me a lot like Myanmar, but nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about going to Asia is the prices still are very, very reasonable. Probably going up now.
Very few Americans have gone to Bali, but it is a favorite place for the Australians. And during the vacation time in the winter in Australia, people can afford to come up here and have this inexpensive vacation in Bali.
Yeah, and so it is a poor country. I mean, there's this looks a lot like Myanmar, and there's it's rainy, but the people are very much interested in the art here. It's very spiritual. Oh, this is the stream where the lady was bathing herself. We saw from the bridge, and again, very jungle-like. Some lakes.
Real jungle, yes.
Yeah. Looks like Joe Biden there.
They're not
Aviator glasses.
Muslims, they're Hindus.
Right. Yeah.
The brand of the Hinduism, very different from India because this is a long way from India. And they've been a long way from India for a long time. So they developed kind of their own Hindu version of Hinduism.
So they had monkeys here, and one of them bit Mom. So she was getting.
I wouldn't want to get that close to a monkey.
I know she got bit. I don't think it broke the skin, which was good. So she didn't have to get any rabies shots. But touristing around, and then there was a procession while we were there, coming up the road.
It's very like Myanmar.
Kind of like
Oh, we have a freeze here. I'm going to continue on and just do this. And let's see. Here's more of the procession. Again, the park. Here's here's us. Are you back? You were frozen for a while.
Well, you've been talking the whole time, so
Okay.
we couldn't tell that we were frozen.
Okay. Good. Yeah. I just continue on. Let's see. There's.
Oh, yeah, the cows. That was,
Right.
there's Marilyn with a cow. And of course, they don't kill animals and so they don't eat meat, right?
Right.
Beef, anyway.
Yeah. So the cows are allowed to wander all over wherever they want
That's
to
very
go.
much like India.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
after all, I don't know how they were converted to Hinduism, but a long time ago.
Oh, and this is the bat cave. These are all bats hanging up. This is in the middle of the day. They're all sleeping. And so at dusk, millions and millions of these bats come out of the cave and go out and search for fruit. They're fruit bats. And so they eat.
Go out at night.
Yeah.
They sleep during the day and then go out at night.
Right.
A bat is about as big as a house mouse, but with wings.
On the beach, they had this place where we could go go on a catamaran. And, oh, here's a closer view of the bats. You can see there's millions and millions. Oh, what's happening here? There we go.
The bat caves.
Colored chickens. I don't know why they have those. But yeah, this was boating.
They would have chicken fights. The chickens would fight each other and they bet on which one, the red one or the yellow one. And the one that won the rooster fight, they'd make money. So they were gambling using roosters.
Okay, and that's me up in the air.
Okay, Kevin is up in the air. Now, an airplane pulled you?
No, a boat.
Boat. Oh, yeah.
Boat. There we go.
You were right at the seashore, and you'd stand on the sand, all harnessed up, and then the boat would take off, and the parachute would go up, and you'd be way up in the air like you were flying. And Maki was really worried.
I would be too.
Yeah, and then in the evening, dancing and a nice dinner with a lot of shows of. But again, for me anyway, the artwork and the artists and the whole idea of art and was amazing. There's just so much different artistic work, and why it was so important was wonderful. I have a friend that's retired to Bali, and she loves it. She's been there for 15 years now, in a small village. I don't think this.
I know, but what did she do to pass the time?
Well, she travels around. Yeah. And yeah, she lives in Ubud, which is the artistic community in the middle of the jungle. So yeah, that's a story of Bali for me. Do you have anything to add from your point?
We enjoyed that very much. And then you I guess you flew back to Tokyo.
Right.
I think we flew to Hong Kong again. And then we took a plane home. And at that time, it took something like 30 hours to get back home. It's a long plane trip. But again, we got off, of course, in Los Angeles and changed planes. So that took part of the time. But it was a wonderful trip. We were at the other side of the world. You couldn't get any further away from where we lived in the United States, but to go to Bali. And then if you kept going, you'd go around the world in a short way would be to come back. And they did have trips for retired people, which would go around the world, and they'd stop at places like Bali. We never went on one of those, but that was a possibility in that now. And they had regular plane fare around the world. Now, Japan's Shinto religion, is that anything like Bali's Hindu
No,
religion?
no, it's
They're
yeah,
native.
pantheistic kind of religion. Yeah,
Pantheistic. Oh,
yeah,
yes. That's considered by Christians very primitive.
yes,
And
right.
they worship the sun and the moon and planets and things like that. Well, we've been reading a book about that, how the Christianity was split in half, part like pantheonic and part what we had.
Doctrine.
Doctrine. Yeah, you had to follow the doctrines, the rules.
Anyway, so let's finish off the recording here.
Okay. I thought
And
you'd.
let's see.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that was fun. Nice